Boise State, I mean, how does the recruiting process for two programs like that compare when you're smack dab in the middle of kind of the epicenter of high school football and then having to go outside when you're at Boise?
Yeah, two different things. You know, when we were there with Mac, there's 22 million people. You tell me there's 22 million people here in the state of Texas, so if you got to go outside of it, you better have a good reason. And they obviously have great football there. And it made a whole lot of sense to me. And I always appreciated that, you know, from Coach Brown. I know they get guys from other areas and all that. You know, for us, you know, there's an amount of guys that are going to come out of our state, and then we've got to go, you know, in either direction. And I think the one thing I did learn about Boise State when I was at Texas was how people respected our brand in Texas. And they know that Boise State was successful, that Boise State wins, and those players are like, that's where I'd like to go. And so probably when I first went out recruiting, it wasn't about, you know, I got the Longhorn logo on my chest, and everywhere I went, the conversations were about Boise State with all the high school coaches at that point. And that was interesting to me, as I was talking more Boise State than I was Texas, and I was more comfortable talking Boise State because I knew more about it, and then translating that into how we're going to do things at Texas. But that was an eye-opening deal, and that's why I think we're in that state, you know, as heavy as we are, and it's been good to us.
When you have kids that are interested because they've seen that Boise State brand and festivals and things of that nature that are in places like Texas far away, do you see the value of something like satellite camps, being able to go down and actually have a presence down in these places?
Yeah, because you get to be there. You know, you get to have your face there, and you get to be, and your staff, you know, and be out there and coaching. You know, I think that's probably the one thing too. Everybody talks about satellite camps from a recruiting standpoint. All right, I get that. Okay, I also think, at least in our program, and we feel this way, that's one of the things that we get out of it, but we're also out there coaching and showing how we coach and helping these kids learn the way we teach our guys. And you know what? To me now, that's just showing our faces, but that guy learns something, and he's a better football player because of Boise State. That's as big as anything. You know, now you've made an impact on him, and if he is a good player, he's going to probably remember how he developed, you know, through that camp or what he learned. And so we love coaching football, love being out there, and that's a chance for us to do it in different places.
You've got a lot of early commits this year. What is your philosophy with those guys? And I think I've seen a couple that maybe hadn't even been to campus yet. What do you tell them in terms of what you expect if you're going to commit early, and what you want them to know before they commit?
I want them to know this is where they want to be. You know, I think regardless of whenever a student athlete makes a decision, it's going to change people's lives, including his. It's going to change ours. It's also going to change the other guys that you're talking to at that position. And, you know, I don't think we're not a pressure operation. We want guys that want to be there. We will find the Boise State guys. And if that means it's early, great. You know, if it's bam, 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 and all things are going on at one time, awesome. If it means late, we'll find them. They'll surface, and that's just what I believe in how we've recruited over the years, that the Boise State guys surface, and when you present them an opportunity, that's the one they've been waiting for, and it all comes together. That's how we get our guys.
You know, I know Pete always had that philosophy that if you've committed, if you're going to take another trip, you know, he'd pull the offer or kind of move on. Are you that hard cut and dried with it, or are you a little more flexible on that?
Well, it's like we talked about earlier. I mean, it's not all just cut and dry like that.
Yeah.
You know, you'd be surprised some of the reasons why they might do it. And it's family or it's whatever and all that. Now, at the same time, there's an understanding, you know, with that as well. No, we don't want guys doing that at all. But it doesn't always work that way. And we're in the people business. These are people. They have families. There's a lot more going on with the guy than people think. And so you've just got to be able to make, you know, judgment calls on that. And we've had guys do that have stayed committed. We've had guys do that haven't stayed committed. We've had guys that have been committed and not gone anywhere and not stayed committed at the end. So it's, you know, that's just part of it. That's you kind of knowing at your position what we're getting into and where we're at, and being prepared if things change.
Bryan, understanding that the depth chart is a fluid document, we do see that Austin Cottrell is on there, and we don't know much about him. What can you tell us about him?
Well, everything I've heard about it, well, I can say this. As a person, fantastic. Absolutely. He and his dad, they came up for a visit. Great people. I think he gets it. He's definitely a Boise State guy. There's no doubt about that. Playing-wise, what I've heard and seen him working out, he's progressed really well. And I think he's going to be a really good addition for us this year. I haven't been out there in the practices and all that, but I've heard good things. That he's done well. He's picking it up, and even in the most miserable times of the summer workout, he's happy to be here. This is where he wants to be. It's still fresh for him, and I've appreciated that because I like his energy and I like what he brings to the table, and we're excited. And he's a big, tall guy that provides a target for us that we don't have, and I think that's what we're really looking forward to utilizing in that way.
And a necessary addition with Troy Ware unexpectedly having to.
Yeah, and to have Austin, with Troy's deal, which is about as unfortunate as it gets because we really were excited about Troy, but then you come up, and there's Austin, and how these things work out, they just do, and Austin's waiting, and he's a Boise State guy, and here we have a guy that we feel like can come in and fill Troy's shoes, so to speak, and we'll see where he's at.
You guys have been built for so long on strong defenses, and even when the offense got the accolades sometimes, you guys had top 10 defenses. Do you feel like, especially early in the season, when you have a running back, quarterback situation, you're trying to figure out that maybe you're going to lean on the defense a little more this season, or at least early?
I think we always do, regardless of, even with Kellen. I think you go back to our seasons in the Fiesta Bowl, right, against TCU. We scored 10 points, and it was 17-10 win. Our defense scored in it. I mean, let's be honest, there's been things that the offense has gotten credit for over time, which I appreciate as a coordinator, but, it's been strong defense for a lot of years, and absolutely, do we feel good about our defense? Yeah, for the guys coming back, do we have a lot of stuff to do? You guys know that. I mean, we're gonna get better, but D-line, we got depth and stay healthy. Linebackers, we're solid. Got some really good players there and depth. In the secondary, we got some really good dudes back there that can play.
I mean, do you feel like this defense could rival some of the ones in the past? When you look at the All Mountain West team, you got 4 of the 11 guys. I mean, do you feel like there's...
I don't want to say that, but I think they're good. Yeah, I really do. I mean, from the teams that we've had in the past and some of the players, D-line-wise and linebacker-wise and secondary-wise, yeah, there's guys that can be right there with them and competing with them, absolutely, from the previous Boise State teams.
On the line specifically, what are you expecting out of Mata Ele or
Deuce?
Yeah, and then with JT, I mean, with those two guys, they're kind of unknowns, especially Deuce. I mean, are you expecting them to play prominent roles for you on the line?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, JT, getting him back, and he would have last year had he not been hurt. Tyler Horn might have been one of the best players in the game prior to getting hurt against Ole Miss. And I'm talking on both sides. He was playing really well and unfortunately got injured. Deuce, it's time. I mean, when I got there, it's just time. It's time for him to play. I mean, I've heard of Deuce. I've seen Deuce. I've watched him, tear up our offense and all that. It's just time. It's time to get him out there and play is what we need. So, and I know he feels the same way. And absolutely expect those guys to contribute and be good players for us, and we've seen them. Now they got to go out there and get it done. We got to prepare them better through fall camp and get through that, but they'll be ready.
The old adage is defense wins championships, and the last couple of years you hear coaches here, it seems to be more they're looking at who has the quarterback back, who's going to get the best quarterback play. That's going to be the determiner. And looking top 10 offenses last year, it's the teams that were in the semifinals. You guys, you look at the top 10 defenses, 8-4, 7-5. Is the quarterback the better determiner at this point of whether you're gonna be a really good team?
Well, I still think it's defense. Now, I'm going to answer this, but I think defenses have a lot more difficult time, just statistically. Some of the numbers are going to put them behind, but are they scoring or not? I mean, just look at that. Yeah. Because teams are going to move the ball. That's just how it is. There's too much little dink and dunk and space plays and all that, but what are they doing in the red zone? They're scoring points, How many turnovers is your defense getting? I think your quarterback plays well and your D-line plays well. Those are the two keys to being a successful football team. And, yes, you have to your quarterback has to play well. All right? He doesn't have to be great or all league necessarily, but he has to play well. and the guys around him have to be at a high level if he's just playing well. And then defensively, no doubt about it. It's, at least from my experience, and it's been proven at Boise State, when our defense plays well, we might sputter, but we'll figure it out on offense. We'll find a way. Or the Fiesta Bowl, all right, was it 38-30? I don't know if that's the score of it and all that. All right, Dante Dean scores in that game, right?
Yeah.
If it was 31, if it's that close at the end of the game, we're feeling a whole lot, worse about that drive, and I think everybody's a little more concerned about what's going to happen. So, yeah, it's always going to be defense and the way they play, and I think they got a huge challenge with the teams that we play and the way teams play now.
In terms of quarterbacks, a lot of teams seem to be looking at fifth-year guys, graduates coming over. They're around the league. Are you in favor of that, or is that one of the options for you?
Transferring quarterbacks and all that.
The guys like transferring or guys who
I guess if you need to, yeah. I'm not opposed to it.
Because you've done it with a running back.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to it. If you find a guy, Russell Wilson wants to come to Boise State. Yeah, we'll probably find a way to make it work.
He'll probably become a baseball guy now.
Yeah, well, he can play baseball too, I guess. I don't know. We'll
2
talk
years.
about that later.
But it just seems like it's like the reverse of the one.
That was a bad thing. We just cut that right there and get that out of there. But
it seems like the reverse of the one and dones in basketball, where it seems that they're getting guys now one and dones in football at the end of their career. But is that way?
I don't. I mean, unless they change it, that's just part of it. I can see being on the other end of it too, where you have a guy you're expecting and then he decides to go somewhere else because he's graduated. That can be frustrating, but that's the rule. And players are taking advantage, or utilizing the rule, and other teams are, taking advantage of that.
Is that something you